Wild horse advocates are celebrating a big win. The Bureau of Land Management has decided to cut back on the number of wild horses it will round up next year. It's aiming for 3,000 head fewer. This comes after Congress voted to reduce the agency's budget by several $millions. This past fall, Wyoming held its largest roundup in state history. And we sent 9 News reporter Kevin Torres to Rock Springs to take a closer look at the debate.
It is a symbol of the West.
There once was a time when the southwest corner of Wyoming was as wild as the horses that roam its range.
We had thousands and thousands of horses in Wyoming when I returned here in 1979.
Like many wild horse advocates, Jeannine Stallings knows how the 1970s changed the animals' lives.
I'd like to see wild horses left alone, period.
In 1971, the Wild Free Roaming Horses and Burros Act gave the Bureau of Land Management power to control wild horses.
The first time I saw a wild horse was when I went to a gathering outside of Rock Springs, Wyoming.
The towns surrounding Rock Springs are home to hundreds of wild horses, a number far lower than it used to be. In his free time, Jay DeWart cares for 4 of the animals, but at work he manages many more.
We take pride in what we do, and
DeWart is in charge of the Divide Basin herd for the BLM.
And the appropriate management level is 400 to 600 animals, and at this time we're over double the high end of the appropriate management level.
DeWart says it's necessary to round up the wild horses so they don't take over the land.
These public lands are multiple use, and there's a lot more creatures that depend on it, especially at this time of year.
They're not damaging the land. Cattle do far much more damage to the land.
Advocates believe the BLM is helping ranchers who want more land for their cattle. They say there's a money exchange going on.
I call them the Bureau of Livestock Management.
It's kind of a lack of education on their part for saying what they're saying. It's like politics and religion, you know, no matter what you say to them, they're going to believe what they believe, and they're going to say it.
Advocates are saying a lot, and they're challenging the BLM in every way possible.
They flat lie about everything.
Especially when it comes to the BLM's description of the wild horses. The BLM says the horses are starving and don't have much to eat.
The horses that are coming off the range are fat, sassy horses. They look like horses in any pasture around here, maybe better.
There is not enough feed out there or water.
Amy RUHS is in charge of the BLM's adoption program in Wyoming. When the horses are rounded up, they're brought here to a horse holding pen in Rock Springs.
If you have kids, you send your kids off to schools and prepare them for life, and I kind of look at the horses the same way. I don't look at it as we're breaking up families. I feel like we're bringing them horses to families.
Advocates will argue horses are not humans, they're animals. And out of the 2,000 wild horses that were rounded up in this corner of Wyoming last fall, the BLM says only 25 of them have been adopted out.
Like it or not every single one of those horses is an adoptable horse.
Then there is the concern over the collection process. Each year, dozens of wild horses are killed during roundups.
They're utterly terrified. They're utterly terrified.
The BLM says most of the horses die because they're sick.
They all have different opinions.
It is a tough debate that will likely carry on for years to come. While the BLM looks for ways to round up horses, advocates will continue to search for ways to keep the West wild.
We should not ever put any animal through that.
In the southwest corner of Wyoming, this is Kevin Torres, 9 News.
Those roundups cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. We would certainly like to hear what you think of all this. Head to 9news.com. You can leave your comments there. And that's also where you can read a second related story that Kevin Torres put together on the debate over horse slaughter.